wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken.
Minecraft in the United States in one weekend made more money than Snow White has made globally after 3 weekends.
Rachel Zegler's role in the live-action Snow White was meant to be her big moment, a dazzling highlight where her rising fame met Disney's timeless magic. But the excitement quickly soured. As soon as whispers started spreading about major changes to the cherished tale, the public mood began to change fast. Then, just like that, the conversation took an even more intense turn.
Rachel Zegler then inexplicably continued to post herself in an empty theater for her own movie. Literally the only person there. Meanwhile, the experience at Minecraft goes something like this.
Chicken
When Jack Black allegedly confronted Zegler about the chaos behind the scenes and her passionate defense of the project, things reportedly spiraled. According to widespread whispers, that tense moment may have pushed Zegler to a breaking point, a meltdown that shows just how extreme the pressure has become. What began as a high-stakes Disney remake has now exploded into a full-blown saga.
The future of Hollywood is being battled out right now in theaters as 2 live-action remakes from the biggest studios in Hollywood go head-to-head.
The drama didn't stop there. It came loaded with claims of poorly thought-out creative decisions, test screenings that apparently made things worse instead of better, and loud speculation over whether Disney has finally taken things too far. Even before the rumored face-off between Jack Black and Rachel Zegler, people were already buzzing about the mountain of backlash the Snow White remake stirred up. Hardcore Disney fans, the ones who usually cheer for every remake, sequel, or spin-off, started feeling seriously uncomfortable about where this story was headed.
Warner Brothers' Minecraft movie versus Disney's Snow White, which in theory should be quite a battle, but it's not even a fair fight.
Whispers about a heavy-handed message woven into the story, mixed with test audiences slamming the film's choppy pacing, only fueled doubts that this production was on shaky ground. While some brushed off the early complaints as just the usual internet noise, that skepticism didn't fade. It exploded. Every time a fresh detail leaked, the chorus of unhappy voices got louder and louder.
Snow White, of course, famously played by the insufferable girl boss narcissist, who's just clinical at this point, saying that audiences will always line up to see her no matter what she does.
Premiere.
Things got so intense that even Bob Iger and Rachel Zegler had to jump into the spotlight, using public platforms to calm the storm and insist the film was just being misunderstood. But no matter how hard they tried, the controversy around Snow White refused to die down. Reports claimed that frantic reshoots and last-minute changes caused wild tonal shifts throughout the movie. And the rumors didn't stop there. People whispered that whole scenes were either slashed or shuffled at the last second, wrecking the story's flow completely.
And everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Test audiences said the movie started off strong, but then things fell apart fast. What began with promise reportedly collapsed into a confusing mess of scenes that didn't seem to connect. Some viewers complained the pacing never bounced back after the rocky beginning, while others were frustrated by a thick, overwhelming theme that smothered the magic of a classic princess tale. And just as the backlash hit full swing, a brand new storyline suddenly entered the mix.
Interesting about all this is that the only person waiting in line to see Snow White was Rachel Zegler.
Jack Black, famous for his wild humor, electric energy, and unexpectedly sharp takes on pop culture, reportedly had a tense exchange with Rachel Zegler over how she was dealing with all the backlash. While the exact details are still hazy, whispers claim that Black challenged her directly, asking if calling out fans as ignorant or mean-spirited was really the best way to respond to their real concerns.
Rachel Zegler then inexplicably continued to post herself in an empty theater for her own movie. She's literally the only person there. And Do you not understand how humiliating this is?
According to the circulating story, this blunt confrontation sparked a fiery clash, with Zegler reportedly becoming visibly emotional, ending in what some witnesses have described as a total breakdown. Speculation quickly followed. Many believe she felt completely trapped, crushed under the massive pressure of leading a high-stakes Disney blockbuster, all while being hit with non-stop personal attacks across social media platforms.
Meanwhile, the experience at Minecraft goes something like this.
Chicken
Others argue that Zegler was already stretched to her breaking point, worn down by stressful reshoots, brutal fan reactions, and the constant changes to the film's storyline. For them, Jack Black's sharp confrontation wasn't the cause. It was the final straw. As the rumors caught fire online, people across the internet took them as solid proof that something deeper was unraveling behind the scenes. And it clearly wasn't just about clashing creative ideas.
And the cops had to escort the rowdy teenagers out. The Minecraft movie is doing something magical. It's creating a live audience reaction event.
It became clear that the growing frustration from both fans and critics had started bleeding into the production, affecting everyone involved. While neither Disney nor Zegler directly addressed the rumored confrontation with Jack Black, that didn't stop the wave of speculation from crashing in. Those who had already written off this Snow White remake as a failure now had fresh fuel to stoke their fiery arguments.
Encouraging to see a movie that decided to do the opposite of Snow White, which is, according to all available reviews, including from the people that I trust the very most on this platform.
While some painted a picture of a chaotic set and a frazzled lead actress, others urged people to take a step back. They reminded everyone that internet rumors can easily spiral out of control without real proof, and that massive productions often face huge pressure, leading to emotional moments that don't always represent the whole picture. Yet, despite all the back and forth, the central question at the heart of this controversy remained unchanged.
It is non-political. The Minecraft movie does not try to beat you and box you about the ears with the message.
How did a beloved fairy tale like Snow White end up becoming a battleground for so much drama? And did Jack Black's rumored role in all this point to deeper problems with the film's execution? While Zegler continued, at least publicly, to defend the story's value, critics weren't buying it. They argued that no amount of PR magic could hide the shaky foundation beneath it all, highlighting major flaws in the screenplay's structure.
It is just silly fun for kids, which is what a kids movie should be.
Sudden scene shifts and pacing that never gave audiences a chance to truly connect with the story left viewers feeling disconnected. Even the comedic brilliance of someone like Jack Black, if he had any role or input, couldn't save a film many believed was weighed down by an agenda. As the release date loomed closer, Bob Iger joined Zegler in doing their best to keep hope alive and maintain optimism about the project.
Whereas the Snow White model is the message ad infinitum, shoved directly up your ass, and, most importantly, in the most insufferable possible way, like screamed at you.
Iger stressed that Disney has always been about reinventing its classics to resonate with newer generations, while still keeping the spirit of the originals alive. But this time, something was different. Longtime fans, usually the first to embrace any Disney remake, began publicly tearing the project apart. A rare shift from the typical warm reception these films get. Many didn't just think it was a matter of personal taste. They felt there was a deep, fundamental disconnect between what made the original Snow White so loved and what this new version was offering.
And so let's see how they fared against each other. The Minecraft movie breaks box office record with $300 million global opening, while woke Snow White slips again.
Some argued that the clash between modern sensibilities and the timeless charm of the fairy tale made for a jarring experience, while others suspected that production interference had watered down any real creative vision. The rumors surrounding the Jack Black confrontation only fueled this growing debate. If a comedic actor, known for handling Hollywood's quirks with ease, couldn't keep his concerns in check, what did that say about the project's direction?
In theory, Snow White should as well. Snow White's the movie that made Disney, the studio. They should have been more cautious and careful with their own IP.
It seemed to only strengthen the belief that the film was in deeper trouble than Disney wanted to acknowledge. Cynics quickly seized on the story as proof of a full-blown meltdown behind the scenes. But Zegler's supporters weren't having it. They argued that if she did break down, it was completely understandable, given the intense pressure of the environment and the non-stop social media attacks. They pointed out that female leads often face the harshest criticism, especially when they dare to speak out in defense of a project they truly believe in.
The Disney Snow White, faithfully adapted, would have made $1 billion. Everyone knows this.
The rumor mill went into overdrive, with more speculation swirling around how exactly Jack Black had confronted Zegler. Was it a private conversation accidentally overheard by a crew member? Did it happen off-camera during a press event with bystanders listening in? Or was it a heated phone call or text exchange that got blown out of proportion? The versions varied, but one detail remained the same. Zegler reportedly became visibly emotional, eventually retreating from the public eye for a while to try and regain her composure.
So the film received a low score on Rotten Tomatoes, but 87% fan approval. The rankings were very similar to Snow White, which received a 40% critic score, 73% audience ranking. Yeah, right.
The silence surrounding the issue only fueled the flames of curiosity. There was no truth to the rumors, why not just deny them outright? But if some kind of conflict had actually happened, fans began to wonder whether the tension pointed to bigger creative issues behind the scenes. Critics didn't let up, picking apart test screening feedback, which was filled with complaints that Snow White strayed too far from its heart and ventured into territory that felt forced. Audiences noted that while the story began with a certain charm, it soon unraveled into a series of scenes tied together by preachy messages, rather than natural plot development. And if a comedic cameo or tone made its way into the mix, it seemed completely out of sync with the film's new serious direction. Many felt that the film's identity had been lost in the attempt to balance modern progressive ideals with staying true to a centuries-old fairy tale. In such a scenario, any comedic element, even from someone as cherished as Jack Black, risked feeling completely misplaced, like trying to slap a band-aid on deeper, more significant narrative issues.
However, the Minecraft movie was not plagued by controversy of being woke.
Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler's reactions to the wave of negative reviews became a lightning rod for even more debate. On several occasions, she hinted that some critiques were unfair or driven by bad faith. While she didn't single out specific individuals, many felt her comments came across as dismissive of legitimate viewer concerns. This mirrored a troubling trend in Disney's recent controversies, where any dissenting opinions were quickly labeled as the work of trolls or troublemakers, rather than valued fans with real complaints. As fans began to feel like their opinions were being brushed off, discontent only grew. The same people who had once eagerly backed Disney's reimaginings of The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin started questioning their loyalty, especially after hearing the rumors of backstage drama involving Zegler and Black. Insiders claimed that the reshoots caused major narrative whiplash. Scenes that were supposed to be central to the story were either cut, replaced, or shuffled around, leaving the plot and characters in a constant state of confusion without ever allowing them to truly settle.
Rachel Zegler, who was cast in the title role, but some diehard fans were upset that Zegler, who identifies as Colombian American, was cast to portray the Disney princess.
Hardcore fans who got a sneak peek at advanced screenings described a film that completely missed the mark on Disney's signature cohesion, flipping between serious moments and lighthearted whimsy without ever mastering either. They speculated that the producers were scrambling to blend a modern message with classic fairy tale nostalgia, but in the end, they ended up disappointing everyone. Some of these fans even suggested that if Jack Black really did step in to confront Zegler, it might have come from his frustration that the film's comedic and musical elements were being overshadowed by the endless negative publicity and a muddled storyline. Observers quickly noted a major red flag. The same loyal Disney fans who had championed past live-action remakes were now speaking out against Snow White. When the brand's most dedicated supporters start wavering, it's a sign of much deeper problems, ones that go beyond small disagreements over tone or plot adjustments.
It got destroyed at the box office. Here's the box office numbers. The Minecraft movie made $60 million on Saturday. Snow White made $2 million.
This signaled to many that the negativity surrounding the film wasn't just the opinion of a vocal minority. It might actually be a sign of a much larger shift in how audiences view Disney. The rumored meltdown between Zegler and Jack Black, if it even happened, seemed to embody the growing tension that was palpable among the film's own team. When trying to figure out why things went off track, many pointed out that the movie strayed too far from the original fairy tale's heart. Sure, updating a classic can breathe new life into the story, but critics argued that Snow White had lost its identity to a heavy-handed moral. The film, they said, seemed more concerned with pushing a message than telling a cohesive story. Supporters of the reimagined classics pointed out that every generation deserves a version of these tales that resonates with modern values. But they also recognized that if the storytelling goes too far into preachy territory, it risks turning off the very audience it wants to reach. Adding fuel to the fire were public statements from the production team that sometimes brushed critics off as simply negative or unappreciative of the artistic vision. This approach, implying that only true supporters could understand the movie, only made things worse, leaving fans questioning why their valid concerns were being ignored. The rumored Jack Black confrontation added another layer to the controversy. If someone as respected as Black, who straddles the line between mainstream success and creative circles, felt compelled to challenge Zegler's stance, it made the underlying issues feel even more real. While the meltdown narrative may have been blown out of proportion, it certainly fit into the broader picture of a project that was being mishandled and stressed out. Speculation swirled that Greta Gerwig, who had some involvement with the project, might step in with a statement of her own, either to defend the production or explain the reasoning behind the script's direction. Any such statement could shift the public conversation, but many experts warned that it could easily come across as damage control, especially when the public already senses a disconnect between what was promised and what was delivered. Once an audience feels a film falters on a basic storytelling level, no amount of post-release spin can easily win them back. Industry insiders are increasingly concerned that Disney's recent track record with live-action remakes could start to damage the brand's long-term reputation. Earlier remakes consistently pulled in crowds, but now, with diminishing returns and louder criticism, it seems the formula may be running out of steam. Snow White's struggles could very well signal a tipping point, forcing Disney to rethink its entire approach to revamping these classics. Some are already wondering if the meltdown rumors serve as a symbolic representation of a broader issue with Disney's strategy, that audiences may no longer be willing to shell out for big-budget nostalgia without the magic that once made them fall in love with these stories. With all of this, many are beginning to question Disney's reliance on its golden library of animated classics. The idea that nostalgia alone guarantees success is becoming more and more questionable. Online communities are incredibly vocal, and when they sense a product is disrespecting the core of a beloved classic, the backlash can be overwhelming. Fans want updates that celebrate the magic they cherished while offering new insights, a tricky balance to achieve. When that balance shifts toward heavy-handed themes or confusing storytelling, it creates widespread dissatisfaction. In a larger sense, Snow White's struggles seem to reflect a cultural moment where nostalgia is no longer an automatic ticket to success. The rumored confrontation between Zegler and Black, real or imagined, serves as a microcosm of how quickly dissent can spiral into personal conflicts in today's hyper-connected world. It also highlights the growing demand for authenticity when reworking a cherished piece of cultural heritage. Viewers and critics alike expect a certain level of respect for the original spirit of a story. They sense even a hint of cynicism. What might have been a simple mistake can quickly escalate into a full-blown disaster. Modern media outlets and fan communities thrive on dramatic stories, and a public or private meltdown, especially one involving a comedic icon challenging a rising star, is impossible to ignore. The story blends the personal with the professional, the comedic with the tragic, and all of it is layered over an already struggling film project. People are drawn to it not just for the celebrity angle, but because it mirrors the frustrations surrounding the Snow White adaptation itself. The rumored meltdown becomes a metaphor for the entire film's journey, a story that lost its way. For those who want to see Disney succeed, the real question is whether Snow White's negative reception, along with the ongoing rumors of a meltdown, will trigger meaningful changes within the studio. Some studios respond to fiascos by doubling down, blaming failures on poor marketing or external hostility. Others, however, recognize the signs and understand that a change in direction is necessary. Disney takes this lesson to heart. The next round of remakes might be more thoughtfully crafted. If not, another meltdown, literal or figurative, could be just around the corner. Those who share the meltdown story often claim it occurred at a moment when tensions were already at a breaking point. Zegler was reportedly facing relentless attacks on social media, with everything from her performance to her dismissal of critics being targeted. From this perspective, Jack Black may have stepped in out of concern that continuing to label dissenters as trolls or bad faith critics was doing more harm than good. This is true, the irony is striking. A meltdown meant to serve as a wake-up call has instead become sensationalized, overshadowing any meaningful creative critique or moral perspective. According to the rumors, Zegler, blindsided by a colleague she respected, experienced a breakdown that underscored just how fragile the situation had become. In the aftermath of such an incident, if it truly happened, the film's stakeholders may now be reviewing their crisis management strategies. Publicly, everyone will likely continue to promote Snow White as an ambitious reimagining, championing diversity and modern themes. But privately, the meltdown could be a reminder that audiences and cast members alike have their limits. Push too hard in one direction without carefully integrating those updates into the beloved essence of the story, and the foundation can crack. This narrative of a meltdown then shifts into a cautionary tale for future productions aiming to breathe new life into time-honored stories. Still, some Disney fans remain convinced that the meltdown rumors are exaggerated or fabricated by critics eager to see the film fail. They point to a recurring pattern. Fans anticipate change, express concern, negative buzz builds, rumors spread, and the film gets hammered online before it even hits theaters. To them, the meltdown is just another piece of sensational gossip, fueling negativity until the truth is officially revealed. While skepticism is understandable, that doesn't entirely erase the broader lessons this controversy brings to the surface. Complaints about Snow White's narrative disjointedness, last-minute scene changes, and a constant feeling that the film lost its way have dominated discussions. Whether the rumored meltdown actually occurred or not, the end product described by test audiences was widely criticized for lacking a cohesive spirit. Interviews with insiders revealed that several rewrites were attempted to fix the structural issues, but none of them were entirely successful. As a result, the film feels like a patchwork of promising ideas, overshadowed by a forced moral agenda that rarely aligns with the natural flow of the story. Given all of this, it's easy to see why the rumor of a meltdown fits so well into the public's understanding of the situation. Confrontation with Jack Black signals an internal acknowledgement that something was wrong, leading to heightened emotions. The meltdown then becomes a symbolic moment, a tipping point where the tension finally boiled over. Whether true or not, it aligns with the broader narrative that the film is burdened by confusion and competing creative visions. Even if the meltdown is entirely fabricated, it perfectly captures the chaos surrounding a project that should have been a straightforward tribute to one of Disney's original princesses. Looking ahead, the film's opening weekend box office numbers and the word of mouth afterward will likely have the most significant impact on whether the rumors are put to rest or amplified. If Snow White somehow pulls in a strong audience with positive feedback, the rumors and negativity may fade into footnotes. However, industry analysts remain skeptical. Early signs suggest that while controversy may initially spike ticket sales, sustained success hinges on the movie's overall quality. The final cut is weighed down by pacing problems, structural issues, and an overly heavy tone. Even curiosity might not be enough to save its reputation. And so, the tension lingers. Rachel Zegler, Jack Black, and the entire creative team find themselves at the center of a growing debate that has spiraled well beyond typical film promotion. The rumor of a meltdown, whether it's a real emotional collapse or a metaphor for the film's deeper turmoil, has taken on a life of its own in the public imagination. Whether any official statement will surface to clear up or debunk these rumors is yet to be seen. For some, it's the final straw in a series of disappointments with Disney's approach to its live-action remakes. For others, it's an unfortunate distraction that overshadows what could still be an interesting, if imperfect, cinematic experiment. One thing is certain: the Snow White controversy has grabbed attention across the board, from die-hard Disney fans to casual moviegoers who don't usually get caught up in Hollywood gossip. The rumored meltdown, real or imagined, demonstrates how quickly narratives can become cultural flashpoints in today's media-driven world. It reflects deeper issues: creative tension, corporate priorities, audience expectations, and the delicate balance between paying homage to a beloved story and trying to breathe new life into it. In the end, whether Rachel Zegler truly broke down after her confrontation with Jack Black or whether this is just a product of rumor-mongering, the incident has taken on a life of its own, crystallizes the sense that Snow White, once a safe bet for Disney, has now become a cautionary tale for trying to reinvent a classic without honoring the timeless essence that made it beloved in the first place. Over the next few months, we'll learn whether the movie has has any chance of redemption. If it underperforms, it might push Disney to reconsider its endless wave of live-action reboots, or at least take a more cautious and respectful approach to the original source material. On the other hand, if the film exceeds expectations at the box office, supporters may claim victory, even if the meltdown rumor continues to linger in the background. Whatever the outcome, this ongoing debate serves as a case study in how fan enthusiasm, industry strategizing, and personal creative visions can collide to create far more drama than the movie itself. In that regard, the rumored or real meltdown only cements Snow White as one of Disney's most controversial and talked about remakes in recent memory. It's a potent reminder that even the most iconic fairy tales aren't immune to the modern storm of cultural tension.